Well, few realize that during the darkest days of the Dust Bowl, parts of Oklahoma were devastated by floodwaters. An ironic twist of fate that in great part led to the construction of low-water flood control dams across the state and the nation. Often referred to as silent sentinels, many of these earthen dams have been in place for more than a half a century, well past their intended lifespan, which is why work is underway to repair these aged structures so they can still stand guard against Mother Nature's fury. Here's our Betty L. Michaels.
There generally isn't much fanfare reserved for earthen dams, so this celebration outside Ochelata in northeastern Oklahoma is unique.
Thank you, George, and what a privilege it is for me today.
But we'll get back to that. Often referred to as silent sentinels, upstream dams do their job without many of us taking much notice of the raised mounds and the lakes they create. George Stunkard is chairman of the Oklahoma Conservation Commission.
Silent sentinel, and that's a good term for them because they, most of the general public don't know they exist. They're off the beaten path, they're on private land, but they do their job daily.
Their job to trap and store water after heavy rainstorms, effectively reducing flooding downstream.
When we have these tremendous rainfall events that would normally cause flooding, these hold the water back, release it at a slow rate so that the tributaries and the channels can handle the flow.
And handle the flow they have, safeguarding residents from the kind of catastrophic flooding that was once commonplace for the state more than 50 years ago. Resident Wayne Montgomery recalls childhood memories from that time.
And it's awful bad, and then this was terrible because there wasn't no access in and out of homes or small communities, and a lot of road damage for real people to get schools, mailbox, and everything.
Experiences like those spurred state officials to begin building flood control dams in the 1950s, becoming the first in the nation. Clay Pope with the Oklahoma Association of Conservation Districts.
Well, when you think about Oklahoma, the history that Oklahoma had before the construction of these flood control dams throughout the state, the amount of flooding, the damage that was caused, in fact, it's been estimated by the Agricultural Research Service and USDA that these dams save somewhere in the neighborhood of $70 to $75 million a year in flood damage that doesn't happen because they're there.
And the silent sentinels have been working ever since.
They're extremely important. They do yeoman's work every year. They provide that protection that we need for our roads and bridges, for our crops, for our homes, for people's lives.
But any protection they offer comes with an expiration date of 50 years, and for many dams across the state, that time has come. Mike Thralls heads the Oklahoma Conservation Commission.
Initially, when these dams were built, they were designed to last about 50 years. They do silt in. There's been development below these things, raised their hazard classification.
Which brings us back to the celebration where people gathered in ceremony by Dam number 6 to commemorate yet another first for the state.
All 6 of the dams that are in this watershed have been rehabilitated, and that will extend their effective usefulness for another 100 years.
Thrall says rehabbing upstream dams like the 6 that make up the Double Creek Watershed project is a necessity for the state.
So to protect the people downstream, they did need rehabilitation. At the same time, we extended their lives for another 100 years. So that's a significant event.
So significant that a mixture of state and federal dollars will be used to pay for the cost of upgrading the state's 2,100 dams, spending that State Senator John Ford agrees with.
When you can talk firsthand to some of the property owners whose property crops have been saved, these are so important to Oklahoma, and it's so important to the local areas that I think it's important that we let the other legislators know that, every dollar we spend is someone's tax dollars. It's our responsibility to spend those wisely. But when you see the results of some of the things we're doing here, I think they can see that these are good uses of the tax dollars, and I think we can continue to get the support.
Support that's really an investment in the next generation.
Now, if you're interested in hearing what other state leaders think about these silent sentinels, just go to our website at okhorizon.com and click on this week's Value Added.